So a couple major decisions by the Trump people this week. One, they're putting troops, military troops that is, into DC. And also Trump's going to be meeting with Putin in Alaska. I want to go over sort of what's going on, and let's just jump right in. So first, this is Trump on meeting Putin.
Emergency. And it's embarrassing for me to be up here. You know, I'm going to see Putin. I'm going to Russia on Friday. I don't like being up here talking about how unsafe and how dirty and disgusting this once beautiful capital was.
So that's what Trump's talking about, right? Calling in the troops. They're actually going to be meeting in Alaska, but he refers to it as going to Russia, whatever. And you know, for me, like, it's just spiraling dementia kind of stuff. It happens every day. We can actually watch it live. And you always wonder how many people are falling for said things, right? The Trump and his people. And obviously these people are incompetent and self-serving. I saw this. It's interesting. Meet the 24-year-old Ottawa software engineer who runs a MAGA bot. And the basic idea is that oftentimes things you may see on social media could be bots, especially on Twitter, that kind of stuff. So basically, these kind of people can look, you know, keyword, whatever, you know, name a particular political opponent of Trump's, and then like just do like 20,000 replies a day kind of thing. And then it gives the appearance that people are okay with what Trump and his band of lackeys are up to. So just always be aware, there's a lot of bots out there.
We're in the strength side of the peace through strength business, but on the negotiating side, there's going to be, you know, could be land swaps, there's going to be concessions. No one's going to be happy, but if anybody can do it, it's going to be President Trump.
Are you going to be there?
I don't know. We'll see what my calendar looks like. Possibly.
Well, can you call us when you find out the information, please?
We'll know.
Is there a precedent that you all are worried about?
And I want you to see that again. There's that weird look to the camera, and I think he's either looking at a producer, teleprompter, or Trump directly. I just want you to see it again because this is all performance for them. Watch again. Just watch Hegseth's body language as he looks at the camera. It's this bizarre look. You'll see it again.
I don't know. We'll see what my calendar looks like. Possibly.
Well, can you call us when you find out the information, please?
We'll know.
Is there a precedent that you all...
Isn't that weird? And essentially what they were talking about is, hey, are you going to go with Trump to go meet Putin? And that was Hegseth's response. He does this weird look several times. I'm starting to notice it, and I want to show you another one. Just look what Hegseth is up to.
Up these tents, the homeless tents are all over the city. They're K Street Tunnel. There are some dotting along the area here. There were more before. Some of them have been cleared out. What about those?
We're working with the marshals and alongside them, alongside Park Police, alongside everybody else. Wherever they need the National Guard to assist, we're happy to be there.
Do you know where
the
homeless people are going to go?
That's not really my lane.
Yeah.
Our job is to stand alongside law enforcement. We'll do that.
Other really interesting...
Did you guys see it? And the two topics were, are you going to go meet you know, Putin with Trump in Alaska? And he gives a weird look to the camera. Hey, what are you going to be doing with the homeless people? Where are you going to put them? And then he says, oh, that's not my lane. And he gives this weird look to the camera. I just want you guys to notice this stuff because these people are frankly sick. There's another way to put it. And when you start to see their behaviors, it kind of all fits in. This is something that came out last month. I just didn't get a chance to mention. I'll mention it now. From the Financial Times, advertisers flock to Fox seeking an audience of one. It's Donald Trump. So the basic gist of it is oftentimes the stuff that you'll see on Fox News is literally just playing to either Trump or people in Trump's cabinet, right? His band of lackeys. So that goes back to when you were like, who the heck is this stuff for? Because oftentimes the crap they say on Fox is really bizarre, right? Or the comments you read in the, you know, in comments on Fox or whatever, Twitter is also bizarre, but it's bots. It's an audience of one, a deranged, you know, guy like Trump. Who may or may not be hearing voices. I mentioned that stuff before in prior video, but this is sort of what we're talking about. And in the same way that Hegseth could just be performing just for Trump. And that's why you'll see people go on TV and just like talk about how awesome Trump is. It's just like basically they're trying to please their boss. I know it's sick and bizarre, but you want to be able to spot this stuff.
Well, we're going to have a meeting with Vladimir Putin, and at the end of that meeting, probably in the first 2 minutes, I'll know exactly whether or not a deal can be made. How will you know that? Because that's what I do. I make deals.
And you can see Hegseth back there. I don't know. I started to notice it recently as well. I mean, I don't know if he's on something or the whole thing is so bizarre because we're actually talking about serious issues, but these guys all treat it like it's a joke. It's just sick. Trump's tweeting out in the White House, standing on business, and you can read that any number of ways. Are we like holding business down? Because as you guys know, recently they said, hey, we're gonna get money from NVIDIA or AMD. I think it was 15% of their sales to China. You guys remember that? And also I've been seeing this kind of stuff also. Trump nominates Bureau of Labor Statistics critic to replace fired agency head. As As you guys know, Trump got mad at the job numbers, so he fires said person, even though that person's been in that, statistics rolling for about 20 years. Brings in his own dude who's frankly unqualified. Economists are always saying this guy's like one of the most unqualified people you can find. I looked him up a bit. His name is EJ Antoni. It's exactly what you think it would be like. He's part of like Project 2025. He's part of a think tank, or what do you call that? We'll say a group of people who, they're not really qualified. They just say, hey guys, you're all going to be rich and let's just do trickle down economics, that kind of nonsense. So I'm curious what the numbers are going to be. CPI data does come out soon, but this guy won't be in position yet. He's still got to get confirmed by Congress.
So the president called this a public safety emergency, and you said we're going to start seeing the National Guard this week. Tell us more.
This week and in coming weeks. And we're going to work right alongside our law enforcement partners as force multipliers. This is what the American people voted for, Laura. This is what the common sense, clarity, strength. I hadn't heard that story from President Trump before, the story he told about his father, that he told him, hey, son, if you look at the front door of a restaurant and it's dirty, then I bet the kitchen, you can count on the fact that the kitchen is too. And I sat there thinking that's exactly right. If our capital city is a mess, if we can't control our capital city, then what does the rest of the country look like? And what signals does the rest of the country take from that? So just like we did in Los Angeles, alongside our federal law, we took a lot of criticism for 4,000 troops, 700 Marines. You know what we didn't get? There was no summer of love in 2020.
No summer of love, I guess. The thing with the Hegseth, and just listen to a little bit, you can see this guy's unstable, right? This is the guy, the defense secretary. It's just clearly unstable. It's not the guy that I want, having anywhere, any kind of weapons or any sort of position of authority or leadership. I think you guys already know this if you're watching it, but I'm just seeing a meltdown of Trump and all of his people. It's obvious, and it keeps getting worse because he's progressively going worse also. Because essentially what they have to do, they come on TV and justify, why are you sending troops into D.C.? Because effectively Trump has to call everything an emergency, and therefore I have to take more power, right? And then these people have to go on TV and sort of like show support for their crazed boss. I'll put it this way, guys. If you're involved with any of this stuff, be it the Trumpy people and the administration or whatever, it's not worth selling your soul or your country or betraying the Constitution. Just don't follow illegal orders, okay? I want to make that really clear.
For those that work here and the Americans who want to come visit here and love our capital city.
The question of martial law keeps getting raised by the left, that Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth, they want to impose martial law as authoritarians would. To that you say?
To that I say, look at Los Angeles. They said the exact same thing. Oh, look, 4,000 troops, California National Guard. Oh, look, the Marines. You can't put in the Marines. What? They were the troops available to ensure that we de-escalated the situation and didn't allow other lawbreakers to say, look, it's wide open. We can do whatever we want in these sanctuary cities.
I mean, you guys can see like he's completely unstable. And we're talking about bringing in the military for what things they're not trained for. I want to point this stuff out here. This came out just today. Immigration crackdown causing Trump's slump in Las Vegas, tourism unions say. So basically, people aren't coming in the USA due to Trump's actions. This is just, business here. Trump always likes to claim he's a great business person, and then he has all those people go on TV and say, oh yeah, Trump's a great business person. But when you ask actually real people who are doing business, there's like, no, Trump's scaring people away. I mean, you can see it in the numbers. Down 13%. This would be from the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. That's international visitors, down 13%. Overall, down 11%. There's layoffs, I guess, happening in Vegas. It says a lot of departments are having a lot of layoffs. In the housekeeping department, the people on call are barely called in to work, right? So it's actually a very similar thing that they're doing in China. This is a headline that came out today. China factories cut shifts and workers' pay as U.S. tariffs bite. This is a reason why you don't want to do these crazy tariffs that Trump is up to. Last time we saw this stuff was about 100 years ago, in the 1930s, but it causes a slowdown in everything because it's an import tax. And so in China, they're telling people, hey, just don't come to work. So they don't show up in the numbers because they're not considered unemployed. They're just either part-time or told to take a leave. And similar kind of thing are happening in Vegas. So there's a lot of like underbelly of really negative economic stuff going on due to Trump's tariff and trade war policy. We're scaring tourism dollars away from the USA, and there's slowdowns around the world. And on top of that, though, is that USA is isolating itself, and then other countries are forming partnerships with each other. I mean, it's obvious what's going on, and that's why I'm showing you this stuff. Is just forget about the bots that you see on Twitter or whatever like that support the Trumpy stuff. Just watch it for yourself and ask yourself, does someone like a Hegseth seem someone stable? Is this the person you want in charge of the military?
Here in D.C., that's going to be a problem. So all of these things that apply to law and order are front and center for us. And I don't know, weeks, months, what will it take? That's the president's call. But we're going to be there for him to execute as swiftly as possible.
Will the National Guard be detaining Americans on American soil?
Under Title 32, which is the authorization they'll be using, they have broad latitude. But they're not going to be involved in law enforcement functions. They will be standing right alongside our federal agents like they were in Los Angeles. They're going to be proactive. If you take an action or a shot at them, there will be a consequence. So,
if a crime is being committed, in other words, and a National Guardsman sees a crime being committed, then what?
They can come alongside and assist law enforcement.
What if law enforcement isn't on
then
that
they can
corner?
take. Then they will. I will have their back to ensure they can take the necessary action to protect citizens of D.C. and to protect themselves. So there's no rogue law enforcement going on from the National Guard, but there's also the application of common sense.
So that's Hegseth talking about whether or not the National Guard will use force. As you saw earlier, we talked about in this video where, hey, where are you going to be putting the homeless people? And he's like, well, that's not my lane. And then he has this weird look to the camera. Frankly, guys, this stuff is sick and it's scary because you have incompetent people doing a lot of unstable and unprecedented stuff, and not in a good way. And that's why I show you guys who they are. Right? That's all you have to see. I guess we're also talking about possibly sending troops to Mexico. Scheinbaum rejects U.S. invasion after Trump orders military target Mexico cartels. And there was a report in the New York Times talking about this. And then this is Hegseth's response regarding like, hey, are we sending troops to Mexico? See what he has to say about this stuff.
Up close and personal now. Scheinbaum, the president of Mexico, is saying this is not welcome in our country. You know, you kind of see what she has to do perhaps there as well. What is your target, and how deep into Mexico do you intend to go?
Well, we're not going to comment on any of the reporting from the New York Times. Sorry. I wish they had a little bit more commitment and patriotism to the country about what they report on a whole slew of levels.
Yeah, saying Trump secretly signed a directive to go into Mexico.
Also, that material like that, true or not, should never be released. Ultimately, the president ran on designated.
I think it's true. I mean, you know, you can hear his response to that stuff. So is this story true? And they're referring to this article in the New York Times that was saying that Trump signed some sort of order. I'll read it. It says, President Trump has secretly signed a directive to the Pentagon to begin using military force against certain Latin American drug cartels that his administration has deemed terrorist organizations, according to people familiar with the matter. The basic gist of it, though, in the Trumpy TV showy world, you always have to have some sort of enemy to fight, to rally people behind the troops. Whatever, and then you got to have bread and circuses, have UFC fighting at the White House, and I'm not making it up. They really are planning a UFC fight thing at the White House. They're picking who's going to fight there, but it's all a bread and circus to get you to think about, you know, oh, this is the perpetual war and the perpetual enemy we have to go after. It is dystopian kind of stuff, and it's sick to actually see it happening in USA Live. I didn't think I'd ever see this kind of stuff. But, you know, this is where we're at. That's why I'm showing it to you guys so you can spot it for yourself, because people don't call this stuff out enough, unfortunately. Sort of the manipulation and propaganda that they're doing. And so learn to spot it.
Does that mean that you foresee U.S. troops in Mexico in some way, shape, or form? Or are you thinking drone attacks, air attacks? What do you think?
I can't reveal anything, but I'm not tipping my hand that there will be U.S. troops in Mexico. That's not what I'm saying.
But are you worried that now the cartels are just moving everything around, that they know that there's a target on their back? They're just like hiding everything.
See, if you see how he looks off camera again, or at camera, I should say, it's like your audience is Trump, right? Essentially. And you're asked the tough questions. You're like, wow, Trump, what should I say, right? That's how I read this stuff. So that's what's going on. I want to hear your thoughts. Please share, and I'll catch you next video.